Okay, let's try this again. Hey everybody, it's Anne, and I'm here tonight. I'm so excited you're all here to make this ShutterCard with me. Let me show you if you haven't seen it already. I just took off the belly band, and here is the card. I just love this card, and I think that you will too. Now, if you have your materials with you, I think I had put in the post what you would need to actually make the card. And if you got your materials out and you want to make it along with me, great. If not, this video will be posted and you'll be able to watch it again when you have your materials. Okay, to make this card, you either are going to need 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 solid cardstock, or you're going to need 1 sheet of 12 by 12. Now, all of the solid pieces will fit on this 1 12 by 12, but they won't on the 8.5 by 11. So that's why you need 2. Now, what I'm going to suggest you do is cut your pieces out of the 8.5 by 11, and then you can basically mark around your 12 by 12 piece, and then you'll have a little template that you'll be able to use again. All right, so the first thing, let me get my cutter. So from the solid cardstock, you don't see them on camera, Judy? Hey, Judy, I see them in my phone. Let me pop on over to the computer real quick to make sure that you can see them. How are things in Guatemala, Judy? It's just amazing with this technology that you can, there we go. Okay, so, all right. Good evening, Kathy Oldham. So we're taking our 8.5 by 5.5 sheet, first sheet, and we're going to cut down the middle. And so now I'm going to take this one piece away. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to score at 2 1/8 inches from each end. So there's one side, and of course you can just move your piece down, but I think it's easier to just go ahead and score. So there is that piece that we've scored. I'm going to take it off the camera now, and I'm going to, bring in my other pieces. The next piece I'm going to cut is at 3 by 5.5. Remember, I already have this at 5.5. Now I'm going to cut it at 3. Get my scoring blade out of the way. Okay, there's that piece at 3. Now, I am going to cut my belly band piece. And this side is already 11, so all I need to do is cut a piece at 2 inches. Then I have my belly band at 2 11. Okay, the last solid piece you need is you're going to need 2 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to cut down at 4 inches, and then I'm going to cut at 3 1/4. Now, there is probably a better way to cut on the 8.5 by 11 so that you have bigger pieces left. But for tonight, we're just doing it this way. Okay. Now, with these two pieces that you have 3 1/4 by 4, you want to score each of these pieces on the long side at 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're going to score that at 1/2. Whoops, you know what? I did it at 3/4. So we're going to move it here, and it won't really matter. This is just, so at 1/2, and then at 1/2. So now you have your pieces scored, both of them at 1/2, and just forget that little part where I fouled it up. Okay, now you want to take a coordinating piece of DSP. I've already cut mine. You're going to cut one piece at 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. What I wanted to point out to you is this is going to go on the front of the card like this. So if you have a pattern on your DSP, make sure you take that into account when you're cutting it. So if this were my big piece of the DSP, I would have cut it this way at 5 1/4. Then I would stick it in to do the other measurements. Okay, so this piece again is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, and okay, then these pieces are, you guys are saying bring them on camera. Are those, can you see them in there now on camera? Then this next piece, you're going to cut it at 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, so it would look like this. Then you're going to cut this piece in half, and each piece will be 1 7/8. So you have two pieces, 1 7/8. Amy, are those on the camera now? My camera guy is at a meeting right now, so I'm getting this. So hopefully that's good now. So you've got that. All right, now the Whisper White we are going to need. And these are just scraps. You want one scrap that's at 1 3/4. Then you're going to need 2 circles out of Whisper White, or you could use Very Vanilla. Okay, thanks, Amy. I'm glad you can see now. Then you're going to need 2 of these 2 1/4 circles, and I just used my circle framelits. If you have a 2 1/4 punch, feel free to use those. Okay? Now, we are going to start putting this together. All right, so does anybody have any questions on the measurements, or are we good on those? Whoops! I've got this taped up here and on my stamp cases, and one just fell. All right, now we've got our 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 solid piece, and it's scored. So now what we want to do is get our bone folder, and we want to crease it really well with the bone folder along those score lines. All right, and then we're going to do this piece. Okay, and you're going to end up, let me just get that totally even. Then you're going to end up with a piece that looks like this. Okay, now you're going to take these 2 pieces, the DSP, and we're going to just grab some snail. For the front of the card, you can use snail. When we do some of the other parts, you're going to want to use score tape. All right, so then I'm going to just center this on the panel here, and then I'm going to center it on the other side. The paper I'm using is from the Share What You Love bundles. I was able to order them in April, but customers can order them now. And I've got all the information there if you want to order those. They will all be available in the June 1st catalog, but you can get them now ahead of time. All right, so you've got this. Now, we're going to take that next piece of DSP and we're going to put it on our solid cardstock that we've measured. Okay, just get some the snail all over that. Okay, and then, all right, now, and I'm going to actually do my big shotting off the camera, but I wanted to show you. You're going to take your framelit, or if you're doing it with a punch, and you're going to center it right here so that it's as close as you can get. Of course, you can measure if you like, but this is not that precise where it has to be exact. If it's off just a smidge, it's not going to matter. Okay, now you're going to have this little circle left, and you can keep it. And now you've got this piece, all right? Now we're going to flip this piece over, and we are going to add a dimensional on each corner. But do not, I repeat, do not take off the little dimensional backing, because it will be much easier to put this card together if you haven't done that. Okay, now we're going to take, these are our 3 1/4 by 4 pieces. What you're going to do is you're going to take a ruler, and I've got this handy dandy one that Stampin' Up used to sell. I'm going to move this camera just a little, so hopefully there, that's better. So you're going to measure across this piece at 2 inches. Okay, and my pencil just rolled off the floor. One sec. This is what I love about live videos. We just get to do it as we go. Okay, so here we go. We're going to mark that at 2 inches, and then we're going to draw a line all the way down. And the only reason I'm doing this is to help you cut it later. We're going to do the same thing on this other piece. We're going to put a little mark at 2 inches, and it doesn't really matter where, because this is going to be covered up. And then you're going to do your line down at 2 inches. Okay? Now, on this line that you just drew on both pieces, you want to measure over 1 3/4 inches, which will be in, let me check that measurement to make sure I'm giving you the right deal here. Yeah. And you're going to put a small dot. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get to my sample piece here. Yes. Okay, so I've got, yeah, 1 3/4. Okay. So it's going to go over here at 1 3/4. Okay, right there. And at 1 3/4. Okay. And the only reason you're doing this is to make it easier when you cut. You're going to cut each piece like this. Now, I wanted to show you a trick that I think makes it easier for doing this, is if you put it in your scoring or in your cutter, but you use the scoring blade, and you start at this one corner here and you go to where the dot is. See right there, you've got a nice little score line, that will make it much easier to cut. And you just have the point here and the point here, top and bottom, and then you just score. Now that you have those, you can easily go back in, because you can see it better, with your cutting blade, and you're going to cut. Make sure you cut not on the edge that you've scored. You can also use scissors. Some people feel more comfortable using scissors, and see, it's right there. And then we're going to flip it around, and we're going to do the same thing on this end. And we're going to chop it there. And I got to get my scissors and get a little nub there. Okay. And you're going to do the exact same thing with the other piece right here. And for the sake of time, I'm going to just use my scissors and go here from the corner right into that where I've marked that dot. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay. All right. Now we've got those pieces. We are getting close, folks. All right. Now, we have our circles that we've cut out. We're going to take this happy birthday stamp, and it is from this Cake Soiree stamp set, okay? And it's this stamp right here. Now, you see how this tail is down here? I don't want that tail. So what I'm going to do is I've actually already cut this little piece of score tape, and I am just going to mask off that little, if I get the right stickiness. Okay, I'm just mask off that little piece right like that. Okay, then I'm going to take my Rich Razzleberry stamp pad, and I'm going to ink it up, and it fell off. I knew it was going to do that. No worries. We're just going to cut another little piece of score tape. Let me get my score tape here. All right. Actually, I'm using my Stampin' Up! Tearing tape that I used. All right, let's just get that other little piece here. All right, and we're going to stick it on here. Hopefully it'll work this time. There. This really is a cool card. All right, then we're going to stamp the happy birthday in here. Now, this is very important. You want to take off that little piece that we masked before you stamp. Otherwise, you'll have a funky looking line that you really don't want. Voila! See? No line. Then, if you want, this is going to be the decorative part on the front. What I did for this card is, actually, that's for the next circle. Never mind. Okay. Now, we're going to take our piece right here, our card base that we have put together. We're going to take our snail and we're going to put this circle right down in the middle of the card. And again, you just want to eyeball it, right? Okay, so it's right in there. Good to go? Okay, now we're going to take these pieces that we've made, and how we're going to attach them is you're going to put your score tape on this front side, Okay, let me just make sure I've got it the right way here so I can show you. Yeah, okay. Okay, so it's going to go like that. Your score tape is going to go right here. So, and you're just going to put it in the middle, right here. Okay? Then, what you're going to do is you're going to peel off that score tape. Good gravy. Here we go. There we go. Okay, then you're going to stick it right in between, about half centered here from the top to the bottom. And you're going to put it right on this score line. Right like that. Okay, see that? So it's going to be like that. Then you're going to take the other piece, and guess what? You are going to do exactly the same thing. So you're going to put your score tape on what I'm going to call the right side, and it's going to go exactly like you did the other one. Okay, and now the magic's going to come. Okay, you're going to stick it same way, half from the top down here to the bottom. Okay, now here's the important part. You want, it doesn't matter if it's the top or the bottom, but the top is going to go over and the bottom is going to go under. If you want the bottom on top, this will be on top, and then this top will go under. And the reason is because that's what makes the shutter when you go to open it. Okay? All right, now we're almost there. Open it back up. And what you're going to do, remember this little piece that we put the dimensionals on? Hello, Pat Tim in Florida. Okay, you want to make sure it's turned right. Now, you're going to just remove the little backing on the dimensional on the bottom. Okay, right here. Okay, then you're going to just center it on your, in the middle, on the sides. Okay. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take off these top dimensionals, and then you're going to close these sides like this, and you're going to push down. Now, look, there it is. Isn't this cool? I just think this is the neatest thing. Okay, then the last thing to finish it off, and I've done them two different ways. You've got your belly band here, and again, you're just going to center it on your card. You're going to fold it around, and then if you want to take it off and put it in your cutter and score it, you can do that. When you're putting on your adhesive, make sure you either use your tear and tape or your score tape, or if you're using the snail, get it on both sides because you really want that to stick. Okay, so there's the belly band. Now, what I do is I come back in with my bone folder because I didn't stick it in this piece in my cutter. All right, now on this one, notice what I did is instead of using this white piece that we cut earlier when we were cutting our circles, I just cut a piece of DSP from the same paper packet, the same size, and then I put it on top of my card. On this one, I took another stamp. It was just a border stamp, and I went on a retreat this past weekend, and I haven't unpacked that, so I can't tell you what stamp it is. But remember that piece that we punched out of the center of this to make our little window? Well, you've got that left over, so when you put on your belly band here, there are so many options. You could just stick this on the front, and then remember we've got one extra circle left over that's right here. So what I did is I took this Let's Celebrate stamp, and I do not put my labels. Hey, Rebecca. Remember, you guys, if you didn't see the whole video, once I finish, it'll be on there. And hello, Chris. So what you're going to do, or what I did, I've just got my circle here, and I'm going to just stamp my Let's Celebrate. And then on this one, I just took pearls and I put it where the holes are. And then I took my, hi, Bonnie. And then I just, can you see him, Bonnie? See him, Chris? Then I just took my ink pad and I went around and I did the distressing. Okay. I got to get this camera down better here. Anyway, you get the gist. All right. Thanks, Bonnie. Glad to hear that. So, you know, this would be cute just as it is, and then putting this little guy on top. Well, actually, that one I've got, it wouldn't fit right on this one, so you'd have to cut a smaller one to stamp. But if you used this, then, you know, you could just stick this on top and stamp this. All right, so that is the card. I wanted to tell you, and if you have any questions about this while we're still on here, feel free to ask me, or you can leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. This, you know, I do a lot of little free Facebook Lives where I just pop on and share something that is interesting to me. And I actually also do longer ones where I do more projects and techniques each month. And if you subscribe to my newsletter at stampmaven.com, there's a little area on the right of my blog where you just put your name and email and you'll get a free gift. You'll get a really neat PDF tutorial and a series of videos. And then in my newsletter, that's where I announce the registration openings for all my classes first. And I give little gifts periodically to my newsletter subscribers. Oh, Susie, I'm glad you're going to try it. If you guys have any problems while you're making this, just leave a comment where the video is here on Facebook Live, or feel free to email me at Anne, ANNE, at Stampmaven, all one word, .com, and I'll answer those. But I hope you have as much fun making these little shutter cards as I do. Have a great night.